Section 1 of the I-9 form is called Employee Information and Attestation. And here the form is really just looking for basic information from the employee. But it's important to remember that this is not something the employer can complete. The employee must complete Section 1. It asks for their last name, their first name, and their middle initial if they have one. And if they don't, then the employee should enter N/A as their middle initial. Any other names that they've used, whether it's a maiden name or I've seen people put nicknames in there, and that's fine. Otherwise, again, they should put N/A. Next is their street address, as well as any apartment number. If no apartment number is appropriate, N/A. City and town, state, and zip code are required. Unless the employer is using E-Verify, the employee does not have to put in their social security number. But if the employer does use E-Verify, then that is required. The date of birth and the date that the employee is signing the form must be in a very specific format. It has to be in the month/day/year/year, or for example, 01/15/2015. That is the format that's required on the form. Then they can also fill in their email address and telephone number, or put NA in either one of those forms. The next part of Section 1 is the attestation. And here the employee is attesting or swearing under the penalty of perjury that they are either a U.S. citizen, a non-citizen national, a lawful permanent resident, or an alien authorized to work. Whether they're a lawful permanent resident or an alien authorized to work, there is other information that's required. Not something that we'll necessarily go through here, but if you do have an employee that checks one of those boxes, review the information that's provided with the form or the employer's handbook, or call Driven HR and we'll be happy to walk you through. Our number is 585-672-4142, and I can be found at extension 15. About 3/4 of the way down the form is the spot for the employee to sign, and it's important that they sign their name exactly as it's written up at the top. So if their name is Joseph Smith, they shouldn't sign it Joe Smith. It should be Joseph Smith. And again, put the date in the correct format. The bottom section on page 1 or section 1 is for a preparer or translator. If for some reason the employee is not able to complete the form on their own, then the person who assists them or translates the form for them should fill out, beginning with the signature of the preparer or translator, the date that they assisted the employee, their last name, first name, and their address. Page 2 of the I-9 form is section 2, and it's important to remember that as of 2013, the employee name, last name, first name, and any middle initial be entered from section 1 exactly as it is in section 1 at the top of section 2. If the employee provides a document found on list A, or documents if necessary, then those documents would be recorded document title, issuing authority, any document number, and an expiration date if appropriate in that section. List A documentation is proof of the employee's identity as well as their right to work in the United States. If the employee chooses not to or does not have available a List A document, then they must provide one document from List B and one document from List C. List B documents, for example, a driver's license or other government-issued identification with their photo, their full name, and their birth date. List C items are things like a Social Security card or the employee's birth certificate. It's important that they be original documents, not copies. Otherwise, they cannot be accepted. Under the certification section, the employer fills in the employee's first day of work, and again, it needs to be in the month, day, year format. They would sign the document, put the date in that the employer completed section 2, their title, their last name, and then their first name, the employer's business name, the business address, the state, and the zip code. And remember that as the employer or employer's representative, you're attesting to the validity of the documents that the employee presented. You're not expected to be a documentation expert, but you are expected to take reasonable care to review the documents to ensure that they are valid and that they really are for the person who's presenting them. Section 3 is for re-verification and rehires. If an employee is not a U.S. citizen and they have documentation that expires, then you may need to re-verify that documentation, and you would use Section 3 for that. It's also used for name changes. For example, if an employee gets married and changes his or her last name, then you can put the new name and the date of the change in Section 3. It also has to be signed by the employer or the authorized representative, the date that the change was made, and printing the name of the employer or authorized representative after that. In addition, Section 3 is used when an employee is rehired within a short period of time. It's really easy to contact us. The simplest way is to send me an email. My email is frank@drivenhr.com. That's drivenhr.com. We also have a website, which is drivenhr.com. And if someone would like to call, my phone number is 585-672-4142, extension 15. And if it's long distance, we have an 800 number. It's 855-672-4142. And again, I'm at extension 15.